Well, you want to know about Mexican style, you got to learn the culture of the Hispanic fighter. It's a tradition. All Mexican fighters are Aztec warriors. They're fighters, okay? A Mexican fighter is a guy that's willing to go to battle, one-on-one, in the pocket, at close range. They're not like American fighters or European fighters that like to fight at long range and box you. I call it fencing. Mexican fighters, like two pit bulls going at it. They want to fight, okay? They don't want to box, all right? That's Mexican style. It's an aggressive, physical style of fighting, and it starts with their mentality. It's their culture. Boxing is called the sweet science, hit and not getting hit, okay? Traditionally, it's from range and distance, long range. There's three types of ranges in boxing. Long range, into your jab, using your footwork, moving around the ring, in and out angles. Medium range, when you're getting closer, and you can put the combinations together like Manny Pacquiao. And short, close range in the pocket. It's called the phone booth, trench warfare, okay? That's Mexican style, mano a mano.
Okay.
Since Mexicans, as long as I know, I follow Mexican boxing since the 60s. I mean, Ruben Olivares, one of the greatest of all time, who was considered the greatest Mexican of all time during that era of boxing, 60s and 70s, okay? The most popular fighter at that time, just like Julio Cesar Chavez. He had an aggressive, two-fisted attack. He liked to fight at close range, but he did it with high skill level. See, that's where the science of boxing comes in. That's what I'm trying to teach Jair. Not just to throw punches and you see that on the street bar. You go to a bar, you see two guys fighting. That ain't the sweet science. It's a street fight. I'm trying to teach him the skills, the techniques, the IQ, the strategy, on how to fight at close range, like the great ones, Julio Cesar Chavez, Ruben Olivares. Two great inside fighters with high skill level. Well, majority of them do. Guys, look at Juan Manuel Marquez. His trainer, Nacho Beristain, he believed in boxing at range, controlling distance, counter-punching, okay? It's the way you're taught, okay? Basically, it's the way you're trained. Nacho was more, he was on the Olympic team, and the Olympics is more focused on long-range distance, scoring the points at range, because it's safe. Okay, when you're at distance, it's safe. You're not going to get hit a lot. When you start getting closer, the guy can hit you because is in range. So it's the way you're being taught and everything. Yeah. Well, everybody has a unique style. Okay, you got boxers, you got boxer counter punchers, you got straight brawlers, southpaws that move, that box, that southpaws, that brawlers. There's all types of styles. You know what I mean? Every individual is different. No one has the same style because everybody's blessed with different mentality, different physical gifts that God gave you. When you be a Mexican fighter, you got to be, you got to be mean, nasty, and your personality's got to change. You're not fighting from distance where you could be finesse. Your personality's got to change. You got to be mean and nasty, have a big set of balls, levels to get in that pocket and battle. But that's the first thing you got to do. You got to have, your mentality has got to change. It's got to be aggressive, physical, and, a little bit of mean and nastiness in you, like that Miguel Berchelt. He's right now the WBC champion. He's this, what do you call it? Physical, mean, nasty Mexican warrior there is out there right now. That's Mexican tradition. If you can't throw the left hook to the body, you ain't no Mexican fighter. I've learned that back in this, in the 70s. Olivares. Who else? Man, there's so many great Mexican champions back there that were fighting back there. But Olivares was the most popular one. Carlos Zarate. He was known for that left hook to the body. That's tradition. Mexican kids, it seems like they just it's like natural for him to throw that left hook to the liver. The left hook to the liver is punishing. A lot, like I'm telling Jair right now, you can hit a guy, a lot of guys are tough. I mean, it's boxing. But once they get right here, they're not as tough. That's their weak spot. Get hit in that liver. Well, it's machismo. That's the Mexican culture is machismo. I got bigger balls than you to fight in the pocket. You know what I mean? And it's just the left hook to the liver is, all styles use that. But Mexican fighters, it's just natural for them to use that left hook to the liver. That's their trademark punch. It ain't the jab, which is the most important weapon in boxing. It's that left hook to the liver. It's paralyzing. And when you get hit with that left hook to the liver a lot, you don't last long. That's what made Chavez a legend. That's what made Oliveira's a legend. I'll have to show you some tapes on them guys when you get a chance. Salvador was different now, okay? He came along, became a champion in 80. I think he was 21 years old, yeah. He had a different style compared to the rest of the Mexican warriors that like to mix it up. He was a more boxer and counterpuncher, like Juan Manuel Marquez. He was more intelligent, calm and cool and composed. He's the guy that liked to use his footwork, work off his jab. He loved the counterpunch, beautiful. Plus he could punch. But when you had to get inside, Salvador, he wouldn't tie you and hold you. He'd fight you, Sanchez. He had that Mexican fighting spirit. No. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Aggressive style with no defense. That's why you got to teach him defense. Even though you're being aggressive, you're fighting in the pocket. Don't mean you got to get hit. Okay? You got to teach him defense in the pocket. A lot of Mexican trainers, all they do is offense. But the other guy is going to, throw punches back. So you got to be ready to defend yourself against the guy's offense coming back at you. I'll give you an example. Donald Curry, WBA champion, Hall of Famer. He had that Mexican style. He loved throwing them short in the pocket. He loved throwing them short, compact uppercuts, left hooks, and them hooks to the body. He had a Mexican trainer, Paul Reyes from Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, he's a perfect example of African American fighter adapting that Mexican style. Boxing and Mexican style, instead of just staying at range and distance and boxing you. See, in boxing nowadays, let me tell you this, Juan Pablo. Fighters today want to box. They don't want to fight. You know what I mean? They want to be pretty at range, like Mayweather, not get hit and all that crap. You know what I mean? Which, who wants to get hit? But fighters back in the days, they fight. Man, fans that pay the hard-earned money to go buy a ticket to watch a fight, Marvin Hagler said it the best back in the 80s. You know what he said? Fans, when they come to watch a fight and they pay for a ticket, they want to see blood and knockouts. It's a different type of, you're not getting fans like the fans you see going to a Shakira concert, okay? These type of fans, male-dominated. They like to drink beer, and they want to see, they like violence. They want to see violence, and that's their drug. That's their, that's what's going to make them happy. A knockout. Mike Tyson. That's why he was so popular. Mike Tyson wanted to knock you out. He didn't want to go no decision. Hagler was an animal. Marvin Hagler, former undisputed middleweight champ of the world. He wanted to knock you out. This is his mentality. Yeah, that's what they want to see. I told Jair, you want to be a big-time ticket seller in Leon? You want to put asses in the seats, especially Mexican fans? You better knock them out. Mexican fans don't like decisions. They want to see knockouts, and I do too. I train for knockouts. That's my mentality. Manuel Stewart, the late great Manuel Stewart, knew him very well. He trained Tommy Hearns. Lennox Lewis. He believed in knockouts. He believed that that's what the fans want to see. So you gotta, hey. Fans buy a ticket for your fight? Well, guess what they want to see? Give it to them, a knockout. Well, it first starts with the mentality, okay? A lot of guys have the mentality, I just want to outpoint you, like an amateur fight. Outpoint you, not get hit a lot and all that. You ain't gonna win no fans. You change your mentality, okay? That's the main thing you do. Like I'm trying to do at Jair. You can't be nice. You gotta be like a, what do you call it? A hyena that hasn't eaten for 3 days. Hungry. Just wants to tear into you.
And how do you prepare somebody for that?
The way you train them. The way I work them on the pads. The way the way I work on the pads. The way we shadow box. The way we spar. I just keep on working on their mentality. You could change them. Oh, I've done it before.
How? Like, you like?
Stay on them every day. Keep reinforcing in their mind what I'm teaching them about this physical, mental, toughness. Okay, attitude. Okay, that's what I do that every day. I'll give you an example. I had a fighter, Jemix Jaka. We fought Juan Manuel Marquez for the title back in 2006. When I got him, he was soft. He had that, American style, hit and run, like an amateur move. And he didn't like that physical contact. I had to change that. And how did I do it? Every day in the gym, working on his mind, telling him, hey man, that ain't good enough. We're not gonna beat or compete with Juan Manuel Marquez. You fighting like that, he'll get run out of the ring. You had to change your mentality. Come fight night, whew. Yeah, we lost the fight, but we gave Juan Manuel Marquez because we pressed the issue and made it a physical fight. And Marquez was totally surprised because if you watch him on tape before I started training him, his prior fights, he was a cutie pie. He liked to knocking somebody out was furthest thing in his mind, from his mind. Yeah. All conditioning and all that. Yeah, but it starts with the mind. Once you get your mind right, everything's going to come. Your conditioning, your technique, your skills, and everything. Yeah. You're a fight. This is fighting. This is not women's tennis. You know what I mean? This is not women's bowling. This is a physical, violent sport. And you better have the right mentality or you're in the wrong business. You know what I mean? Go play golf or go play soccer, women's soccer. It's the number 2 sport in Mexico in certain parts, like Tijuana, Mexico City, in certain parts. In Leon, it's novice because they never had a promoter, a local promoter that knew what he was doing, that knows how to develop local talent. Okay, that's why it's novice, but it's big all over Mexico. They get high rate. It's their second biggest sport next to soccer. They get real good ratings, on Azteca Mexico, Mexico Azteca, and Televisa. Yeah. That's our competition, is soccer. Yeah. We want to turn soccer fans into boxing fans. And how does Jair do that? Every time he goes out there, he knocks them out. That's how you get the city excited about Jair. You knock them out. You start knocking fans out. I mean, not fans out, fighters out. Then the fans get excited. Yeah, I'm American, yes. I, grew up in the States. Great, love my country. I've been in boxing, coaching, 88, 32, 33 years, yeah. And I've had a lot of good fighters in my time. When I was a young coach coming up, I got to work with a lot of champions. As assistant coach, and I learned a lot. You know what I mean? And over the years, I've worked with all types of fighters. Low level to high level. Before here, I was in Colombia. A lot of tradition in boxing in Colombia because of, they had a lot of champions back in the days. Antonio Cervantes, one of the all-time greats. And I've had a lot of good pros in Colombia. 4 of the guys were in the top 10. 4 of the guys were in the top 10 in the world and everything. So, and I had a lot of other good young prospects coming up and everything over there. But I was there a year and a half and I started thinking I need to get back closer here to the States. And I always wanted to come into Mexico to open up a gym, but the situation had to be right. Then when Michi told me about Leon, Mexico, being high altitude, 6,000 feet. I said, that's it. Because in the 90s, I was training out of the hottest gym in boxing at the time, Larry Goosen's Big Bear Lake Gym. High altitude, 6,000 feet, thin air, okay? And Larry used to tell me when I first started, training up here is not like training at sea level. When you train at high altitude, 1 mile of running is like doing 3 miles of sea level. When you're doing 1 round of sparring, at high altitude is like doing 3 rounds at sea level. Your body has to push itself 3 times harder than like at a sea level. So you're going to be in tremendous condition when you get back to sea level in the States. And that was my motivation, man. I could start a high altitude training center here, just like in Big Bear. Back in the days, that gym, they had De La Hoya, they had Shane Mosley, Hopkins, Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, Michael Nutt, Gabriel Relas, Fernando Vargas, Terry Norris, all the champions, the big time fighters back in the days trained at that gym. And I used to go there all the time with my guys. So I know the benefits when you train at high altitude and when you come down to sea level. You can't get that kind of training at sea level. No way. I still love this, I love the sport. I love helping these kids, help them accomplish their dreams. That's mine, and help me. I love teaching. I'm a teacher of the sweet science. I'm gonna tell you this. I've been all over the United States and I've been in that atmosphere, that culture. I went to Colombia, totally different culture. Guys are poor and hungry and are not as spoiled or blessed with the luxuries of the American fighters. And I used to go to Mexico a lot when, I fought in Mexico a lot, in Reynosa, in that area, the southern, the tip of the border with my guys. But I always told myself, no disrespect, there's a lot of fighters in Mexico that never realize their dreams, that they can be somebody if you only train and develop and nurture and nurture them right to reach their potential. That's why there's a lot of talent you'll see around this area that could be good fighters if you give them the opportunity. Why? Because number one, Michi, told me to come here. It's never, right here, boxing is at its infancy stage. I could build something over here. You know what I mean? And, everywhere you go in Mexico, there's a lot of natural, raw talent, but the kids, the coaching is not as good in Mexico like it is in the States, okay? They got Mexico, they used to have a lot of good trainers. Now, there's not a lot of good teachers that know how to take kids, raw kids, and develop them, nurture them, to reach their fullest potential as fighters. And, I'm good at that. I've been around. Like I said, I've worked with different level of fighters, so many of them. To me, it's second nature. I could take a guy like Jair, take him where he's at, and start developing him to the next levels. Reach his God-given potential. It's God's will. That's what I believe in. Okay, if God meant us to meet here, we're gonna meet. God meant me and Jair and his dad, Michi to meet, so we're gonna meet. Because let me tell you this: back in October, I was at the WBC convention. Mauricio Solomon, and I was talking to different people because I wanted to make a move from Colombia, for a better opportunity. And maybe I want to open my own gym. But when I met Michi, I had no idea I was going to meet Michi. Michi, I met him 10, 11 years ago. My fighter fought him. And that's where I remembered him. So then he started telling me about he wanted to promote fighters, and I see that he was doing it the right way. But what sold me was a high altitude. When he told me, yeah, it's just like Denver, high altitude. I'm like, that's how you get your fighters in tremendous condition. Okay, that's the competitive advantage we're gonna have over a lot of these fighters that don't train in altitude, is that ability to get them in that 3 times better condition when they go in the fight. See, conditioning is everything. When you're in a fight and you ain't got no gas in your tank, you can't think, you can't apply your strategy, you can't fight. Only thing you want to think about is survive. But if you got that conditioning, you got that toughness. When the fight gets tough, you got you got that conditioning to fight through that tough time in a fight. Or what if you get dropped on your ass? You have the conditioning to recover and turn the fight around and get the momentum back. That's what conditioning does. And Jair, he runs at 8,000 feet altitude or 7,500 feet altitude in that mountain, straight up. Fighters in America don't do that. They train at sea level. It's different, man. It's totally different. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you about De La Hoya. That was Mosley, De La Hoya. That was the secret to the success. Training in Big Bear, high altitude for all their fights. Yeah. Ask them when you meet them.
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya, ask him. He trained in Big Bear. That's where all the success was.
Yeah, you're gonna have to introduce me.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully, you know, maybe if there's an opportunity to come here, yeah, if he comes, yeah, introduce you.
Yeah,
Good, great guy. Yeah. Okay. I'm like visor, assistant trainer, you know, helping them make the right moves and everything. Because look, these guys never done it before. They don't know how, you know, they never worked with a fighter and, you know, took them every step of the way to the top of the mountain. In professional boxing, you got to have people that have a lot of experience doing that, that knows how to move fighters. One thing I do, not bragging, but you know, of course I could train, but I know how to move them. You know. But you got to have a good, you got to have a great promoter behind you to do that, and you know, picking the right fights and you know, moving the fighter the correct way. And you know, they don't have no experience doing that. You know, you can't learn on the job, because you learn on the job what happens. You make mistakes. So they brought me aboard to, you know, keep the mistakes to the minimum. It depends on how he develops. You know, it all depends on how he looks in these fights. And you know, every fight will determine what type of opponent he needs to get him to the next level. Every fight's a building block, okay? Boom, 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 not boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? You want to have an upward curve in his development. And you do that getting the right strategic opponents. But he's got to, you know, that's where I come in, you know, the professional skill sets of being a pro fighter that can fight at the championship level for 12 rounds, okay? He's a young kid. He could be developed into a good fighter. Oh yeah. He's highly motivated. I ain't got to baby him. You know, he wants to be a champion, of course, like all of them. Everybody wants to be a champion, but who wants to put in the work? This kid, from what I've seen, he wants to put in the work. He listens to me, and get this, when I show him something, he picks it up fast. Why? He had 350 amateur fights. When you have a big amateur background like that, my experience, because I've had a lot of guys with big amateur backgrounds, when you teach them stuff, their learning curve is a lot faster than a guy that doesn't have experience. They pick up stuff faster. And Jair, all this little stuff I'm showing him on inside fighting, and you know, I mean, I'm just starting with the guy. Give me some time, and you're gonna see him grow and polish to his potential. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm to the point of I'm not gonna waste my time with a fighter unless I think, you know, he can, you know, go to the stars. 58. I'll be 58 in June. I ain't got time for that. I just want the serious guys now. I've had a lot of fighters, good ones, talented, but their commitment level wasn't like a fighter that wanted to be special. And that's what you got to do. See, Jair is learning all this stuff, okay? He's 18. He's a young kid. He's, you know, when he starts getting 18, 19, 20, he'll start maturing more. He'll start understanding what I'm telling him and everything. Like I said, I fought in the States, man, at the highest level against good fighters. I know what's there. That's our objective. Not only, our number one objective is to make him a hot ticket seller here, make him a star in Leon. How do you make him a star in Leon? You put him in an arena and he packs the place. Then once he, you know, words gets out, the promoters from America, whoever we work with, they'll invite us. We'll start fighting in America where the money's at. Because you want to make money, okay? And you know, it's a business. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be upfront.
Yeah.
The level of boxing here is not on the same level. Colombia was at a higher level because, you know, these guys are a lot more experienced. The United States is even on a higher level. Over here, it's on the lowest level possible. It's on the road to the minor leagues. You're not even the lowest level of the minor leagues. Okay, you gotta understand the levels of. Yeah, you gotta understand levels of boxing over here. I mean, you gotta understand levels of boxing. You know, there's different levels. This game is about levels, and Leon right now is the bottom. So we gotta work our way up through those levels. And Jair, he had a big amateur background, so he should be able to go through those levels with the right moves. Now you see a lot of fighters in Leon that they have potential to do it, but they don't have the people behind them, the trainer, the manager, the promoter. It's a team. I studied this stuff, you know, over the years, you know, and you know, Duran was one of my heroes. Chavez, you know, they're masterful at fighting on the ropes and everything. So, you know, whatever happened, that's the kind of style. I'm not just a Mexican style or, you know, finesse. No, you got a fighter to reach his potential. Jair, he's athletic. Okay, when you got an athletic guy like Jair, you could teach him all the dimensions to being a great all-around fighter. He needs to be to get to the high level. Okay, you just can't teach him Mexican style. You got to teach him how to box, counter punch, set traps, fight out the ropes, fight out of the corners, stuff like that. In the pocket, fight at angles. You got to teach him everything. He can pick it up because when you're when you got some athletic talent, okay, you could do more than a guy that doesn't have athletic talent. Okay, as a coach, you only could do so much. You only could do what your fighter's talent indicates. You understand that? Yeah. If he's got athletic talent, you could do more stuff. If he doesn't have much athletic talent, well, you only could do a certain amount. You're restricted. Mental.
Endurance.
Right here. This is where you win. Right here. Everything else, talent, commitment. To me, the fighter is right here. Then it's, the commitment, the sacrifices, the dedication, the discipline, and all that. Then talent. To me, talent is, if he has talent, that's even better. You know what I mean?
Okay. But
it starts right here. This is where you win. Okay? I've seen a lot of guys with talent and everything, they don't win because they don't have it right here. Okay? That's the discipline. That's the sacrifices. That's the desire. Okay? The hunger right here. Okay? The part of this is the IQ, knowing how to fight, knowing how to win. Okay? When you're in that ring, it's not just about throwing punches. You got to make adjustments. Okay? And you know what I mean? Your game plan's got to change in that ring, when you're fighting. And that's when the IQ comes. Boxing IQ comes along. Canelo's a good fighter, man. Let me tell you.
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
He's not your typical Mexican fighter that just walks in there and gets hit a lot in their face. He has, he's real slick, real defensive. He's blessed with God-given reflexes and athletic ability where he can slip those punches so subtly you could barely see it. You know what I mean? It takes a trained eye to see, oh, geez. He's blessed with talent and ability. He's a great offensive fighter, combination puncher, a creative combination puncher. He doesn't throw the same combinations all the time. He mixes it up. He's a variant, he's smart, he's crafty. Canelo, like I said, he gets criticized because a lot of Mexican fighters can't do what Canelo can do. A lot of Mexican fighters can't do it. No. That's God-given. He's a God. It's special God-given ability to stuff he could do. Well, Mexican fighter, it started back way then. Oliveras, and before Oliveras, there was champions. I think it was Saldivar. Vicente Saldivar. It's just a part of their machismo culture. I got bigger balls. I got more heart. You know what I mean? I want to. So they fight, not box. But over the years, it all comes down to the coaching, Juan Pablo, how you're taught. If you're not taught defense, if you're not taught how to box at range, you're not going to do it in a fight. If you're just taught one way to fight, and that's just go out there and throw punches, get hit, and throw punches back, that's what's going to happen in a fight. What you do in the gymnasium, how you prepared in the gymnasium is what you're going to do at fight night. It's simple. You understand?